My name is Kate Maven, and this is secret number 4 of 101 Secrets of Canadian Culture. Secret number 4 is Canadians practice tolerance and respect. And I've invited my husband George here today for us to have a little conversation about what tolerance means. My question for George is, what does tolerance mean for you in the context of Canadian culture?
Well, that's a very good question because I think that the word tolerance itself is often misunderstood because it has several different meanings. The most common meaning that people use most of the time is, for example, tolerating something unpleasant, like the noisy neighbors or the barking dog. They'll say, oh, we're putting up with it, we're tolerating it because we don't want to fight with the neighbors. This implies that this is something that's unpleasant that we're just putting up with. Now, in the context of Canadian culture, when we talk about tolerance of differences, we're not talking about tolerating something unpleasant. We are actually talking about embracing difference. That means actually showing an interest in the in other people and their different attitudes and different practices.
Well, one of the things that I face in my classroom every day are people coming from cultures that are very, very different from Canadian culture and who have, I would say, a lot more conservative views on sexuality, on religion, on, people that are different than them. And so when they come here, they experience culture shock of having to deal with people who might be very, very different from them. And, I would hope that even if they don't understand, and even if they were taught that there was something wrong with a specific group, for example, let's say a homosexual, that they take the time to try to understand it. But I do understand that tolerance might be putting up with something that is to you unpleasant.
Well, this is one of the challenges of moving to a country like Canada, which is so diverse. Many people come to Canada from cultures that are not as diverse, where most people are like them. Most people have the same attitudes, the same upbringing, the same exposure that they do. And they arrive here, especially in a big city like Toronto, and everyone is different. Every time you go outside, you see people who are different from all over the world, who have different attitudes and so on. And this is something that everyone has to get used to, that there is so much diversity here, and we have to be open to other people's ideas and differences.
Well, how do you think that if you come from a background or a culture where everyone is sort of the same as you and you're suddenly confronted with all of these different beliefs and different ways of life and different choices that might have been illegal in your home country, how do you think that people can move toward what we both grew up in families and in a culture that was pretty liberal. We grew up with a lot of individual freedom. We grew up with a mass media that introduced us to, the various religions and the various kinds of sexuality. So what advice would you have for someone that comes here and is horrified by some of the people that they meet?
Well, we can only try to put ourselves in their position, coming from a country which is much less diverse from ours, and thinking how shocked they must be coming to Canada. And all I can say is, what they should do is try and put themselves in our place and try to remain open and and non-judgmental. In other words, before judging your fellow Canadians, learn more about them, meet some of them, talk to them, find out about their families, about their histories, and about their jobs and their hopes and dreams. And then most likely you'll find out that all these people have a lot in common with you.
So you're basically saying sort of it's a kind of education then.
It is. Life is an education, and moving to a place like Canada is a very educational experience.
Yeah.
Especially in multiculturalism.
Yeah, and in diversity.
And in diversity.
Yeah. So your advice is get to know, before you judge, get to know somebody.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much. I think that you've expressed very well how Canadians, maybe liberal Canadians, would approach the idea of tolerance. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
If you'd like to learn more Secrets of Canadian Culture, you can check out my book, 101 Secrets of Canadian Culture. It's available on Amazon in most regions and in amazon.ca in Canada. Stay tuned. Next week, secret number 5 is gender identity, and that might be some extra culture shock for you. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.